What's up, everybody? This is Will Schwartz from WRSU. The other week, I had the pleasure of interviewing Pablo, Gene, and Elijah from Innerwave about their new album, making music during the pandemic, and going on tour. Enjoy. So I'm sure everybody's sick of talking about the pandemic and whatnot, but I'm very curious to see how that affected you guys as a group or individually when with the creative process. So like, how did you? I know you have the record coming out, very exciting. So how did the being in the pandemic play into that?
It created a definitely like a almost like a turn of the page in a way, with our sound, with our, you know, our lineup and the whole kind of way we work together too. Um, obviously we didn't get to see each other much last year,
Mm-hmm.
because when things closed down in March, we all quarantined, and I don't think we jammed until September of
Wow.
last year. So all that time and space apart just kind of led to us like kind of building up whatever it was inside of us. I don't know. And also that time also kind of just took us into a whole new mind state and vibe when it comes to the music. And um rejoining last September, and with our new keyboardist Jose Cruz,
Mm-hmm.
uh adding to the lineup and changing the whole dynamic of things. It just things naturally just sound different.
Mm-hmm.
We found a new sound, um, that feels a lot more matured, and that kind of just kind of snowballed itself through the recording process and into this new year. We have new management and a whole kind of new team, uh, being able to bring the art to its full potential, I'd say. uh, you know uh, and yeah, it's been a whole 360 turn,
Yeah,
I'd
it
say.
sounds like it's a whole new leaf for you
uh,
guys.
yeah, and
But
at first it was felt really negative, but in the end, like you got to go through, what do they say, you got to go through hell to make it a heaven. I've heard that before. But yeah, coming to the end of the album, you know rollout, and that is going to come out soon. It's been very uh maturing, I'd say. Kind of overcoming the shit and coming out with a good piece of work.
hmm, that's awesome. When you guys were away from each other, were you still like sending each other ideas, or were you more like focused on your own thing? And like when it was time to come back, you all came together with new stuff.
I think
We
we
tried.
tried. Yeah, we tried for a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm just no good with that. I've tried it with other friends too. Just someone will send me something and I won't open it, or I will, but then there's something about just being in the room with someone and that energy from them or from you that keeps you going. But I think remotely, I just end up feeling I feel like I could just always do it later. Um, so I think all that time, like Eli was saying, was just us sort of building up this desire to want to make music again. And I didn't have any. I actually felt for a long time I didn't want to make music because things were just so crazy that every time I'd sit down with a keyboard or with a guitar, I'd be like, I couldn't get into it. It almost felt very forced. So I think I really needed the guys and everyone to be there to sort of feel like it's like we're all doing this together as opposed to just you by yourself, because so much of the pandemic was that you by yourself.
No, yeah, I definitely feel that. Like I am a musician as well, and that was the most difficult part. Is I felt like I had all this free time to do this and like put out my work, but I just felt like stuck without having people around me. So I
It's
definitely
hard to be inspired. Yeah.
exactly. Um, so you were saying that being away and having this pandemic really made you mature as a band and have a new sound. I watched the mystery video, which was incredible. I have to say the trumpet on that is Sick. Can I ask
Thanks.
what mountain it was on, or is that a secret?
It's a mystery.
It's a
It's a
mystery.
mystery. That's a good answer.
Mystery. Um, so how would you characterize, I guess, the evolution of your sound from, I mean, I know 3 came out, I guess, almost a decade ago at this point. So that's pretty crazy. I remember listening to American Spirits back then. But how would you say like your sound has evolved over this time, and what do you hope for fans to hear in the new record?
You know, there's like a joke that Eli and I had about, I guess, a certain influence for the new record, and that was more adult sounding chord progressions.
Mm-hmm.
And so pretty much that means it's just, I guess, smarter chord progressions that maybe have better, I don't know what you call it, that just sound better, I guess, you know, but just have more notes to them, have more color to them, have like more, I guess, of a, what is it called? Voice leads, chord progressions, whatever. But point is just to sound more mature and sound smarter and kind of sound like as if like Steely Dan or like Led Zeppelin or
I was gonna
bands like that, you know.
definitely heard some like Steely Dan vibes in that track.
Yeah, you know, they have very interesting chord progressions that, or I'll say we have very interesting chord progressions that we were able to turn into sort of like, in some ways, like pop songs of our own, you know. And yeah.
I think to add to what Gene was saying too, I feel like with 3, we were sort of there was a simplicity to it, and that's due to our musical ability at that time and our production ability at that time. That's why it sounds the way it does. And there's a charm to it, but you know, you gotta keep moving to keep it, you know, interesting. So I feel for me, as I see the albums and projects progress, we were making a conscious effort to try to improve the production. And I think for Underwater Pipe Dreams, we made a big effort to try to expand our music theory knowledge. And I feel listening back to it that it feels like it's like a big like of just, you know, this is everything that we like know up to this point, and trying to showcase it in an interesting way, which is cool. But there's a connection between that album and this album where they both feel very grandiose and big. But I think now that we're older, there's a subtlety to it. And I think there's a beauty in that, as opposed to playing at the very extent of your ability. It's almost like we could take it there, but we were sort of in a like comfortable zone. It almost felt we were kind of in our own pocket, basically, sort of like it was very easy to get to the points that we wanted to musically.
Yeah. From what I heard, it definitely sounds very, very refined, and like you guys knew what you wanted to do going in, kind of like the sound is there. So being LA based, being I guess Latinx, when I was watching the video, I noticed that a lot of the comments were actually in Spanish. So I wanted to ask you like how that, I guess, just like how that makes you feel, like how being having your place in the scene and being so influential.
Feels really good. Feels super good to have. Like I've noticed that too. I feel like more and more there's like more and more Spanish comments, and I feel like it always brings me back to our show in Mexico City, which I feel like as a band we could all agree that was like one of the best shows that we've had. It was our first time there, but everyone was so kind, so respectful, and just welcomed us like I don't think I've ever felt that welcomed even in LA, you know.
Yeah.
There's like this hype in LA, but there's not like this welcoming, you know. But yeah, it feels great, you know. It feels great to share that with our parents, one, you know, and then just between ourselves and like, oh wow, like, you know, there's people from not only Mexico, there's like people from Argentina. There's always the classic "come to Brazil" comment, you know. people from Spain. And so it's very interesting and very exciting to know that there's people around the world listening to our music and what we pretty much fight for, you know?
Yeah, no, that must be an awesome feeling. You guys are going on tour. That's very exciting. So what are you guys most excited for about getting back on the road?
Being ready for it. Yeah, it's touring has been something that we've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years, and we've gone on a few full US tours into Canada too. And by this point, it's like every time gets kind of easier and easier because we know what to expect. The first couple of tours were rough, man. Like it was tough. So I feel like every tour is like, all right, we don't want to do this again. Now we know to prepare for this, prepare for that. And even like in this 2-year period where we haven't toured, it's like all this time to prep, you know, and to like miss touring so much that it's like, I can't freaking wait to get out there.
You're good. You can say it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, and to even see like our fan base grow during this time as well, to be able to go back to these cities, you know, and like see those familiar faces, but also see like who's new, you know, like, you know, go back to these cities that we've seen these crowds and they keep growing, and it's like, yeah, it's a trip, you know, because these cities get more familiar over time too.
Mhm.
So it's like, oh, I remember eating at this place, like let's eat at this place again because this food is really good. You know, every city got like its own, you know, good spots to eat at too. So that's another whole part of it. To see the fans, see the food, travel, and be able to share the new music too, and see people's reactions in person when they hear the new stuff.
This is Interwave.
And you're listening to WRSU FM New Brunswick.
Home of Rutgers Radio.